Some people don't fall in love with people, they fall in love with broken things. The emotionally unavailable girl, the cold boyfriend, the toxic friend, the narcissistic parent. Because deep down, they believe love is something you earn by suffering. And that's where the damage starts. Because people who constantly fix others, usually learned very young, that their own needs didn't matter. So now their brain feels safe in chaos, safe in emotional labor, safe being needed, not loved, needed. And most people never realize the difference. A healthy relationship feels boring to them, too calm, too easy, too stable, because their nervous system was trained to believe, love must feel emotionally exhausting. And the scary part, they'll call this loyalty, when really, it's emotional addiction. You see this everywhere in America now. The girl who keeps dating emotionally unavailable men, then calls herself unlucky. The guy who keeps trying to save girls who destroy his mental health, because being the rescuer makes him feel valuable. The friend who becomes everyone's therapist, while secretly falling apart alone. But here's the hidden psychology nobody talks about. Fixers are usually trying to repair themselves through other people. That's why they get obsessed with potential, not reality. They ignore disrespect because they're addicted to the fantasy of finally being chosen after all their effort. And your brain rewards this behavior. Every small sign of affection feels like emotional survival. One nice text, one apology, one moment of warmth, and suddenly, your brain forgets all the pain. This is exactly why toxic relationships become chemically addictive. Intermittent validation, the same psychological mechanism behind gambling addictions. Your brain keeps thinking, maybe this time they'll finally love me correctly. But the real trap is darker than that, because fixing people creates control, subtle control. If someone depends on you emotionally, they're less likely to leave. So without realizing it, some fixers start building relationships around being useful, instead of being genuinely loved. And that becomes terrifying over time, because eventually, you stop knowing who you are without saving someone. Silence feels empty, peace feels suspicious. You actually become uncomfortable around emotionally healthy people. Because healthy people don't need to be rescued, they just love you normally. And for a fixer, normal love feels emotionally unfamiliar. That's why some people sabotage healthy relationships without understanding why. No chaos, no emotional chase, no instability. So the brain whispers, this can't be real. But the darkest part, fixers often attract manipulators. People who instantly recognize empathy, and weaponize it. They know exactly how to stay broken just enough, to keep you emotionally attached. And your brain keeps hoping, that one more sacrifice will finally change them. But people don't heal because you bleed for them. They heal when they decide to face themselves. And some never will. That's why fixers slowly become exhausted, resentful, emotionally numb. Not because they loved too much. Because they abandoned themselves while trying to save everyone else. And most don't notice it happening, until one day they realize, they built their entire identity around being emotionally useful, not emotionally loved. That's why the people who try hardest to fix others, are often the ones silently begging someone, to finally choose them without needing repairs first. Because deep down, they don't actually want to save people. They want proof, that if they suffer enough for someone, they'll finally become impossible to abandon. But human beings don't stay because you destroy yourself for them. Sometimes, they just watch you do it. And that's the part nobody wants to admit.